Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talking Freely with Rainey and Ray. I am Ray and have Rainey here with me today.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good,
Ready to get
good.
the show
Today we are going
started.
huh?
Ready to get the show started.
Yes. Today we will be talking about 3-year-old Vallen Solivares, who tragically died in the care of his father and father's girlfriend. So it is a tragic story today, but we do need any information that anyone may have. We need to look at this case and we need to give justice for Vallen and figure out what happened to this young man baby who had his whole life before him. So Vallen was born on September 3rd, 2018. He was an adorable, sweet little baby. His mom, Kimberly, featured him a lot of times on her Instagram or TikTok or whatever social she had, and she appeared to just be in love with this little boy. She had to share her parental time with her ex, Miles and Solivares, and when he would go over to Miles' house, Miles had a girlfriend named Diamond Sebastian, and they shared their household and family with 2 of Diamond's children. And so it was the 3 little boys together. So I believe they were 3, 5, and 8 at the time of Vallen's death. So Kimberly had expressed to the court that she did not want Vallen to go for visits. He was returning with bruises, changed behavior, crying, afraid of things that he wasn't afraid of before, going over to Dad's house, just the general consensus of what is going on. The judge was not having any of that. It was somewhere along the lines of boys will be boys, and he's falling and getting bruises, and that's the way it goes. Now, I am in the Chicagoland area, and I know that Rainey can tell you that by moving here that I totally changed and I became more aggressive and more stand up. It's almost like the city will eat you alive. And we came from Phoenix, Arizona. So it's not a small town, but it's not quite as aggressive as it is here.
Well, I wouldn't say you became aggressive. I would say more assertive.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But here things are very aggressive. And when you go to court or you feel like I've got even a traffic ticket, like intimidates me to the point of tears because the judge will yell at you. The judge will say things and it's all very forward and get it done and pushy. So I think that Vallen's mom was trying to express these feelings and Judd was just not having it. He's seen case after case after case of parents not wanting the other parent to be involved. So somehow Vallen fell through those cracks. Okay, that gives you a little history of Vallen. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the journey after the hospital when Vallen had passed away. So I had talked to the foster parent of the 2 young boys of Diamonds that were Miles' kind of stepchildren. They weren't married, but they did live together and make a family unit. So we'll just go a step parent at this point. But Diamond had 2 young children whose name I will not mention, but they went into foster care after Vallen passed away. So immediately, the children expressed concern about what happened to Vallen, but they were too terrified to say anything. So the foster parent was required to take them for counseling and also to talk to a detective in the area that was handling the case. So what surprised me through all of this research and reading through these stories was finding out that it doesn't happen like it does on TV. I mean, that's an obvious, but it really doesn't happen like it does on TV. So you have these 2 young children who were in the home most of the time. This 3-year-old who died, he had, from what the mother said part of his chin was missing, or his chin was missing. He had old bruises, healing breaks, anal bleeding. There were so many different things that had happened to this young man. And the two adults that were home with him were saying that he choked on cereal. So that was pretty clear to detectives and to anybody involved. That is not what happened. So the detectives called the children in, the 5-year-old and the 8-year-old, to come in and talk. And when the 5-year-old went in, he was given a rosary by his foster mom to help him tell the truth and to protect him. And they did a prayer for that. And when he came out, he seemed very happy and very secure in what had happened. He wasn't nervous or upset. And he was asked, did it protect you? Did the rosary protect you? And he said yes. And then it was just a slight ask of, did it help you tell the truth? And he said, oh no, it helped protect me. I would never tell the truth. I don't want that to happen to me. So there was this general admission from the children that it appeared that the adults home with Vallen were involved and did cause this pain. But later, talking to the detective, they said so you have the prosecutor and the defender. So they said flat out that there was not enough proof, even with a 5-year-old's testimony, that anyone was guilty. So no one was charged.
Oh my God.
Okay, and this is
I don't understand how they weren't, suspects, because if the medical examiner did the when they did the autopsy and they discovered that his chin was missing and he had been sodomized basically or whatever, that they wouldn't become suspect or be under investigation or something.
this is a part that breaks my heart. So these kids, first of all, foster care in general, done a lot of studies and a lot of interviewing in general. These kids are traumatized, but those are their parents. So even if they're the victims, they're the ones that this happens to, they love their parents. So, but also the state prosecutor decided that there was not enough evidence, that a 5-year-old's testimony would not stand up in court, and there was just not enough evidence, even though there were 2 parents home and 3 children, and one of those children died. And it was not of natural causes. They still could not prosecute them. So this is what breaks my heart, is like, so you don't have to be held accountable if you don't cooperate, if you're not being able to be found, if they just don't have a solid case against you. But a 3-year-old didn't hurt himself with those kind of injuries. It couldn't have been a child. The detective was specifically asked, could it have been one of the children? And they said no, that the head trauma that he had, the force, couldn't even been given to him by a child. So how are 2 adults? I will tell the general part of the story. I won't go off my actual trying to figure out the script. But so Miles went to work, and he was given, he had got a phone call that the child was being unresponsive. So he came home and then called the police, or the medics.
So the dad wasn't even home.
He had went to work.
And so this happened when the girlfriend.
Correct. Correct. But interviewing the foster mom and the children, it wasn't, one of the things the detective said is they cannot prove that dad didn't do that before he went to work, or the day before that, or the day before that, or when they'd went home, he had went home for a little bit. Maybe the mom did it. He came back. Maybe the stepmom did. There was no definitive proof. Mm-hmm. So a child was beaten to death, and nobody is held accountable at all because they can't prove it. Now, to me, I always thought, well, they'll just charge both of them and someone will rat on each other, right? No, they haven't ratted on each other. They both were taken in shortly after, like within 24 hours of Vallen's death, for suicide attempts. So they went in for mental health. And when I do look at this case, the death of a child, watching another child suffer because of the death of that child, but mental health does play a role. And if those parents have mental health issues, and we've still failed that child, does that make sense? Like anyone who could hurt a child, there's something wrong, but maybe there really is something wrong with that parent that needs help. But instead, we've just dropped the case. It's just out there. And if you actually look up Justice for Vallen, his mom was seeking the truth, but it was considered closed because they just couldn't pin down one of those people. And they will reopen it if more information comes forward.
That was going to be my next question.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because it's not over till it's over. Because I mean, this is just, at this point, it just seems like this is more of the justice system has failed on this case, and with, at least if there's more evidence that comes up, or maybe as the kids get older, maybe they will remember more or be open to talking about it, hopefully, maybe, I don't know.
The thing is that I talked to the detective, and he was an amazing detective. He wasn't like, oh, I don't really care, this is that or whatever. He was really in tune, really distraught, but the law is what prevents them from even making an arrest. And during the time they were trying, the main suspects who were with him, Diamond and Miles, were not available. They weren't at the address, or they weren't being able to be contacted by phone. They were just ghosting the officers. So that's another thing to me, like, wow, I watch all this true crime, I do all this stuff, and if you're just not available, then it doesn't follow through.
Mm-hmm.
The child was alone with 2 other children and 2 adults. He did not do that to himself. So how does that just go to the wayside and not no one be held accountable?
Yeah.
And even
go ahead.
I was going to say, even after several months, going into some years, one of the children that were home started to let go and express some of the stuff that they felt had happened, that they saw happen, and knowing what happened. And the detective said, well, at this time, they'll just say that he was coached. I don't know how it works. I don't know. But I think that,
I don't think that, I mean, I don't see how they could say that he would be coached or whatever, because I mean, a kid is either going to remember what he knows or remembers, because when it comes down to it, when someone of authority is going to start asking questions, it's probably going to be either one, he's going to clam up, or he's going to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think a kid is going to, I don't know. I just don't think, like, a kid would have to remember, like, an act, like, if someone was coaching them what to say, because that's a lot. That would be a lot for a kid to have to express and remember, okay, this is what I got to say, blah, blah, blah. I just don't. I think if a kid, remembers something, they'll have more detail on what they know, what they saw.
So let me tell you that on that exact note, I absolutely agree with you, except for these children have been conditioned in trauma themselves. Okay. The 5-year-old and the 8-year-old weren't just witnessing this 3-year-old be hit, somewhere in their past and their life, they were also that target to
Well,
me, right?
I was gonna say, did they, had these kids expressed that they had also been abused by the
Okay, so after this is kind of wrapping up part of this, the end result, the 5-year-old turned 6, turned 7, turned 8, is now 9. And finally, right before they went to their forever home, they said, I need to talk to you. They were talking to their therapist, to their foster parent, and said, I saw my mom do this. I saw my mom hit that child. I saw my mom hit that child like no one should ever be hit in their life. And I'm
so
sorry.
the kids that belong to Diamond
Yes.
were saying this?
Yes. And they said, I just couldn't say anything because I was so scared I was going to be next. So you cannot believe a child could hold that information for 4 years, 3
And not
years.
only that, I mean, if that's their mom, and for them to say that, that is saying something when a kid is actually gonna, um, you know, admit something that their mom did, because most kids are gonna protect their mother,
Right.
but if they're that scared, they're gonna say something, and how can you not listen?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the tragic story of Vallen. He did not choke on cereal. He did not have die from COVID. He died from blunt force head trauma, bruising, all whatever he had going on. He didn't die from all that, but he died from blunt force head trauma is what I
Yeah.
fully believe. And a child can't do that to themselves. A child can't do that to another child. And there were only 2 adults in the home, and both said they were suicidal after it happened. Now, is there remorse? Is there pain? Yeah, there probably is. And does mental health play a part in it? Yeah, it probably does. But there's still no justice for Vallen's mom, for Vallen in general, to pay the price of what happened to this poor young man.
Wow. So, um, the kids that went into foster care, they both belonged to Diamond. That was the only kids that were in the home at the time?
Correct.
Mm. Wow. So, obviously, they never got them back.
They never what?
They never got them back.
She did not get them back. No. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least the system worked in that in that
Absolutely.
part. Yes.
Absolutely. And I know that dealing with and interviewing these people, I know the system can only go so far.
Yeah.
They can only do so much. But when you're teetering between a child's life and not a child's life, like, why do we go towards the adults? Why don't we go towards the children? Like mom expressed, I really don't want him there. He's coming back with bruises, and the comment, boys will be boys. He's just falling down and hurting himself. That is not okay. It's not okay. Like, can you please protect these children? You have the power to do that. And I believe most of the judges and most of the attorneys do try to do that.
Mhm.
But
So the 5-year-old, 8-year-old that were put in the foster system, were they put together or were they split up?
they were put together in the beginning, and then the older one's dad came forward. They did have different fathers. So one father stepped forward and took the older child, and the younger child was left with the foster
Okay.
family. So the older child went with family, and again, no information of that family or how they felt about their about Diamond, how they felt about Diamond or what happened or any of the situation. But the 8-year-old did go with family.
Mhm. Well, that's good.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, kudos to that dad for stepping up and taking his son. Definitely.
It's too bad that they couldn't have stayed together though, maybe
Oh, it's
hopefully they'll
heartbreaking.
be able to keep in touch or something, you know?
Yeah, they do try, but it doesn't always work. And it all depends on the families that they're with, the agencies, the caseworkers, all whoever puts the effort in to keep them together. It is hard.
Mhm.
Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So,
Wow. Well, let me show this little video
okay.
that I grabbed off of uh Vallen's mom's TikTok page.
Machiavelli. Bitches come and go, bro. But you know what I stay.
Technical difficulties. Hold on a second.
Where's the original?
Start over.
Machiavelli. Bitches come and go, bro. But you know what I stay.
Good job, handsome.
I cried when you passed away. I still cry today. Although I loved you dearly, I couldn't make you stay. A golden heart stopped beating, hard-working hands at rest. God broke my heart to prove to me he only takes the best. Keep this TikTok going for anyone in heaven that you've loved and lost, and keep in your heart.
That's so sad. He looked like such a sweet kid.
Yeah.
And
Hard
like
to
he looked
watch.
like he was so innocent and so sweet. It's like how I don't understand how people could do that.
I don't either. And what makes me so upset is that it isn't that big of a mystery, you know? And even in one of the other videos we've done before, I've said, reach out. Like, reach out to somebody if you can't handle a child. But to take it to that degree, And I try as a person to not shame or hate that person involved. But at the same point, it's like, when does it end? Who do you put first? You put the child first. Children are innocent, unable to protect themselves. They come first. So if anybody has any information about Vallen, or anything about this situation, if you could reach out or call his mom. I know she put out Justice for Vallen videos and asked for people to reach out to her. But justice needs to be done. And what is so frustrating is these people go out and then they have more children.
Right.
And who's taking care of those children? And
Yeah,
then,
I mean, even though like time has gone by, I mean, it's been what, 5 years or so. I don't know. Um,
3.
oh, it's only been
Yeah.
3 years. Okay. Um, somebody knows something. I mean, anybody that even was friends with the mother, of the other two kids is familiar with her personality, her if she has anger issues or um
Mental health.
mental health issues. I mean, if you know something and you think that it would bring some sort of justice, say something. If you know something, say something. That's the only way that this stuff will stop. These kids don't deserve to be treated this way. They don't deserve to grow up and have that baggage weighing over them for the rest of their life. That's trauma that they'll never get over, and it's like kids are very resilient, but it's like at some point in their life, something's going to trigger those memories and it's just going to I don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So,
And poor Vallen, his mom missed out on everything through, 3 years old on. He was 2 months shy of his 4th birthday, and he had the whole world ahead of him. And she had her young life ahead of her with her beautiful boy. and
Yeah.
she lost that, and nobody's been held accountable, and I find that unacceptable.
She seemed like a good mom just from what
I know,
video
so loving
video.
and cute, and all the pictures she posted. She was so happy. She was a good mom, and it's tragic. And I have always obviously been out for protecting children, but it's hard to write off adults too. I know you've worked in some pretty tough situations in your life with some adults that have done some awful things, as I have too. And I tell myself over and over and over and over, we'll never look into the eyes of someone God doesn't love. I'm not God. Like, I have a hard time with some of these people, but I get it. And I try to understand, even if it was mental health issues. Somebody needs to protect these children. Somebody needs to speak out. It needs to end. These poor children cannot protect themselves. So we need to take it more seriously. So if there's any chance anyone out there can help or knows anything, give us some advice.
Yeah.
And keep Vallen in your prayers and on your heart.
Yeah, I mean, just contact the police department, FBI, whatever. Just if you know something, anything that could lead to the justice of this kid's death, then do something about it, please.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening about Vallen. He was a special little boy that will be on my heart forever, and hopefully yours also, and hopefully someday he will get justice. But we will continue to highlight these kind of things and ask for help and get these kids some assistance, hopefully before they end up like Vallen, and stop the abuse of children. So,
all right. Well, hopefully we'll come up with a happier episode soon.
yes.
Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.